Hi, my name is Janaire, and I am the self-proclaimed movie buff. Welcome to my channel. If you love film and movies just as much as I do, make sure you click the subscribe button. But today, we're going to be talking about the Mission Impossible franchise. This Friday, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning releases in theaters, and I'm going to go through a breakdown of all of the movies leading up to this. So whether you've seen the movies before or not, this little recap will either help you relive the series up until now, or give you just a little insight as to who Ethan Hawke is before you see the film this Friday. Mission Impossible has to be one of my favorite action film franchises just because we get to see Tom Cruise do exactly what he does best, and that is run. Mission Impossible was released in 1996, and we get to see Ethan Hawke in what he is all about and who he truly is as a character. Ethan is one of the top agents in the IMF, and his team was put together to stop the sale of the knock list. Knock list contains all of the identities of every secret agent worldwide. And of course, we can't have that information leaked. So that is what his team was designed to do, to stop the sale of that list. However, the mission goes terribly wrong because everyone on the team dies.
My team is dead!
The only person left standing is Ethan Hawke. Effort to clear his name. Y'all want to know what he does? He goes and actually steals the knock list.
Where exactly is it?
Stealing the knock list created one of the most iconic scenes in action movie history. Stealing the knock list, Ethan was able to clear his name and reveal the identity of the true criminal. Some of the standout moments for me included the technology. Now, the most interesting gadgets were these recording glasses, and of course, that reminded me of the Meta Ray-Ban glasses.
Whatever you see, it sees, and then it transmits it back here.
1996, it was one of those things where it was so futuristic and only secret agents can have this technology, but now you have somebody's grandma walking around with Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Second was the exploding gum.
Red light! Green light!
And then last, the entire train scene was just quite insane as well. Like, they're on top of a speeding train, no harnesses, anything like that, just only their fingers. It really set the tone of Ethan's capabilities and just his overall intelligence. Mission Impossible 2 was released in the year 2000, and then we're back with Ethan Hawke again, but the stakes are even higher. This time, it is something that could affect every person worldwide. In this film, a rogue IMF agent wants to release a virus called Chimera and profit off the sale of its antivirus.
Chimera.
Ethan's job this time is to stop the spread of the virus and take down the agent before millions of lives are at risk. This movie is totally different than the first film just because it's a slow-mo drama. It low-key feels like a 2000s music video.
Morning, Mr. Hammond. Your mission.
You get a lot of hair flips from Ethan Hawke. It was more like we wanted to see him in a dreamy state versus like an action star. But in order to complete this mission, Ethan had to team up with the villain's ex-girlfriend. And of course, it's also somebody that he was low-key interested in. It was just a lot of lovey-dovey, messy drama.
Well, I was hoping we might work together.
When Naya, the love interest, injects herself with the virus, Ethan only has 20 hours to get the antivirus in her system before she dies. And so he had to break into a biotech lab in order to get the cure.
You've got 19 hours and 58 minutes!
Some standout moments for me in this film. One was the rock climbing with no harness. I don't know if people do that in real life, but don't try it at home. That seems really dangerous. The motorcycle and car chase, it was another iconic scene. And then again, the final beach showdown where they're fighting hand-to-hand in combat. And it only goes up from there. Mission Impossible 3, released in 2006, has to be my favorite out of all of the films. Ethan is no longer a field agent. He has met a girl. He doesn't want to be in the fields anymore. His former students was kidnapped, and so that activated him to get back into the field. In this one, his name is Owen Davian, and he's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. And when I tell you, it was just something so menacing about his character, it really created like a personal adversary for Ethan Hawke. He's not afraid of getting back at you. And once he sets his sights on you, all he needs is your name.
Ethan. Ugh. My wife, girlfriend.
Davian threatens Julia's life. That's Ethan's wife, girlfriend, wife. She eventually becomes his wife. We don't find out what the rabbit foot is and what it's all about, but Ethan had to steal it in order to save his wife's, Julia's, life.
What is a rabbit's foot?
Ian double crosses him, and instead of trading Julia for the rabbit's foot, he actually kidnaps her as well, which of course make Ethan go on a frenzy to not only find her but kill Davy. And of course you get more running, jumping, and amazing stunts from Ethan Hawke. There's even a point where Ethan dies and he brings himself back to life.
I have a charge in my head. I'm gonna die.
One of the most standout moments for me was the bridge scene.
Everybody get down! Get down! Stay down!
There was a lot going on, and I would hate to just be minding my business in rush hour traffic and then I have to deal with helicopters and explosions all around me. Next is Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol kicks off with a bang immediately. There is an explosion of the Kremlin. One is bombed and the entire IMF agency is blamed, and that causes Ethan and his team, of course, to go rogue and have to go ghost. They have no backup or support from the IMF. The craziest moments in this film is Ethan climbing up and down one of the tallest buildings in Dubai. Mission is to stop a nuclear extremist from starting a war between the US and Russia. There's a lot of fake identities, masks, and more. First, they had high-tech gadgets as usual. One was the hallway illusion trick. It was like this big green screen where you can make the image any kind of way you want. One of my favorite scenes, of course, was Ethan running up and down the building, but also the desert chase. And last was the garage fight. Think about fighting in one of those Carvana vending machines.
Mission accomplished!
In 2015's Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, Ethan is being hunted down by the CIA while also tracking a rogue group called the Syndicate. They're basically anti-IMF. Nobody believes him, of course, so again, he's going off the grid, going rogue.
And he's gone rogue.
In this film, we meet Ilsa. Ilsa is dangerous, she's cute, she's smart, she's what every spy girl wants to be.
Follow me.
The only thing is you can't really tell whose side she's on. And this is the same film that Ethan Hawke is hanging off of a cargo plane. And yes, the Tom Cruise did this himself in real life because apparently he does all his stunts. Mission in this film was to expose and dismantle the Syndicate. And he goes into full spy mode. He's breaking into underwater data vault.
One of us needs to enter the tours.
And staging an assassination. Eventually, he gets to trap the head of the Syndicate, using his own tactics against him. Standout scenes for me is the underwater data heist. Opera House sniper sequence was another standout scene for me in this film.
You want drama? Go to the opera.
And then, of course, we get the crazy motorcycle chase in Morocco. Next, we have Mission Impossible Fallout 2018. This movie has to be maybe my second or third favorite in the franchise. It's so many and it's so hard to keep up. But the action does not stop. This movie does not let up. The villain from Rogue Nation, he returns again. This time he's teamed up with anarchists. They want to nuke the entire world.
My mission is to recover that plutonium.
Ethan is caught in the middle of being forced to choose between the mission and then also saving lives. Now, I do love the bathroom brawl in this film. It is one of the most intense fight scenes in the franchise. But the mission involves recovering stolen plutonium and stopping the coordinated nuclear attack. Ethan is forced to partner with a CIA agent, but the CIA agent is the one who turns out to be the actual villain in the film. Go figure. Final act has Ethan chasing down the detonator, flying a helicopter and crashing it, and fist fighting on the edge of a cliff. He barely disables the nuke in time. Some of my favorite scenes in this film, of course, is the nuclear countdown. Even though I know he's going to succeed, they do a really good job of building up the anticipation. In the last Mission Impossible film up until now, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was released in 2023. This one feels like the beginning of the end, which technically it is, but I'm still hopeful that we will get another film after the final reckoning. Rogue AI, known as the Entity, is threatening global control. It can manipulate data, predict human behavior, and it's literally everywhere. Think ChatGPT. Think Siri. Think Alexa. Everybody wants to have access to it. World governments, terrorist groups, and Ethan Hawke. The mission is to find both halves of the key that unlocks access to the entity's code. That is literally the only way you can possibly destroy it. Ethan is trying to stay ahead of everyone in this mission. Anyone that's trying to weaponize the entity, of course. This new villain named Gabriel. Gabriel has a really dark connection to Ethan's past. We get more chases and more death-defying stunts, and this mission is literally leading Ethan all across the globe. In the final act, we get Ethan back on a motorcycle, back on a train, but it's combined. He's able to jump off a cliff using the motorcycle on the train. And again, because Tom does all his stunts, he did it in real life. Mission ends in total chaos. We get trains hanging off a bridge, Ethan barely escaping with only half of the key. And the entity still remains active. Mission is far from over, and that's where we are with Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. Standout scenes for me is Isla in her sword fight, and Gabriel just taunting Ethan at every turn. It's just like, Ethan is usually always ahead, but it seems like Gabriel in this film, he's always just like a slight step ahead as well. Also like the Fiat scene of Ethan driving down the stairs. So I hope you guys liked this recap. And are you going to be seeing Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning? Have you seen all of the films? Does recap help if you haven't seen the films? And if it doesn't help, you really need to just go watch them yourself. For a fact that Pluto TV has Mission Impossible 1 through 4. I'm not sure where else you can find the other films. Leave them in the description box below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. If you do see Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, come back because I am going to leave my thoughts on that film as well.